Hello, welcome to my tutorial on how to create non-fungible token or NFT using Cardano CLI for Windows. As a quick introduction, it is highly recommended that you watch first my previous tutorials on how to generate payment address, create basic transaction, and of course the tutorial on how to create a native token or asset before you move on to creating a native NFT or non-fungible token. Creating an NFT is basically just the same as creating a native token with just additional characteristics or what they call metadata to make your NFT truly unique. And remember, since asset names are not unique and can be easily duplicated, NFTs on Cardano need to be identified by a policy ID, which is a unique identifier and attached to the asset permanently. Now, besides the policy ID, which is the unique identifier, we need also to attach a metadata that describes your NFT. Shown here on screen is a sample metadata format. This is what we will use when we create our NFT. Now, since NFTs are likely to be traded or sold, then they should follow a stricter policy. And most of the time, a value of an asset or NFT is defined by its scarcity. So for this guide, we will choose the following constraints. Now, there should be only one defined signature allowed to mint or burn our NFT, and the signature will expire after 100,000 slots from the time we mint our NFT. Now, apart from the prerequisites in minting a native token, we will also need the following information. So how many NFTs you want to make? Have you prepared a metadata, the Json file? And what is your minting policy? For example, is there only one signature allowed to mint? And after how many slots will you allow your policy to be minted or used for minting? And also, make sure you have the hash or CID or content identifier of your uploaded image to the IPFS network. Okay, so now let's start to mint our NFT. The first thing we need to do is set up our working directory. So for this example, I created an NFT main folder, and then follow my tutorial on how to generate a payment address and save your payment address inside the payment.addr file inside the NFT main folder. So once you have the payment address, send some ADA tokens to it, at least 2 ADA, to include the transaction fee and the minimum sending amount of 1.4 ADA token. All right, so let's query our protocol parameters as our next step and save it to a protocol.json file. The next thing to do is to create a policy folder inside the NFT main folder, which I've already done so. We now generate our policy key pairs. So use this command to generate your key pairs. Okay, so let's check now our policy subfolder. So here are the policy keys that we generated. So now we proceed with the next step, which is to create a policy.script file. So we will be using the following template. So let's open our notepad to create the script file. And then let's copy the template. Now for the slot entry, we need to determine the current slot in the network and add 100,000 on top of that. So let's query the mainnet and see the current slot in the network. All right, so here is the current slot. Let's copy that and paste it here. And then let's just add 100,000 on top of that. So all right, that's done. Now for the key hash, let's generate now the key hash of our policy verification key file. Basically, the script file defines the policy verification key as our witness whenever we want to mint our NFT. So let's use this command now to generate the key hash of our policy verification key file. So here is the key hash. Let's copy that and paste it inside our policy.script file. All right, so let's save it. So we're done with that. Now for the next step, and to mint our NFT, we need first to generate a policy ID based from the policy.script file that we just created and save it inside a policy.id file. So let's use this command now to generate our policy ID, which will be the unique identifier of our asset. So let's check our policy subfolder. So here is now our policy ID. Next step is to create our metadata.json file and insert our policy ID into that. So let's open Notepad and create our metadata.json file. So here it is, and I have pre-filled some of the information here, the description, the name, and then the name of our NFT will be learn Cardano.nft. So let's open our policy ID file. Let's copy our policy ID and insert it here. All right, let's save that. Now for the image, you need to upload first your image and then determine the CID, which is provided by the platform where you uploaded your NFT image. Now for this example, I used pinata.cloud. You can upload your image here and then check for the CID. And for this example, I have actually uploaded my NFT, and I will be using the generated CID for our metadata. So let's copy this one as our example and paste it inside our metadata.json file. Let's save it. In the next step, we are now going to create our token.csv file, which will contain all the values that we will pass on to Cardano CLI. So the CSV will contain our token or asset name in base 16 format, the amount of tokens that we are going to mint, and the UTX source where we will get the funds to pay for the transaction fee and the minimum sending amount. And also we are going to include our payment address and policy ID into it. So let's open Notepad and create our token.csv file. So here are the placeholders. First, let's open our payment address. So let's copy that and paste it here in our template. Now let's open our policy ID. Let's copy that and paste it in our CSV file. All right, so for the token name, it has to be in base 16 format. So what I'm going to do is use this website to convert our token name or NFT name into base 16 equivalent. Learn Cardano NFT, so this is now the base 16 equivalent. Let's paste that here. For the token amount, we are just minting a single NFT. All right. So we proceed with determining the transaction hash and transaction index where we will get the funds from. So to do that, let's query our payment address for the list of UTXOs. So it contains 4 transaction hashes, and we will be using the last one, which contains 34 ADA tokens. Let's copy the transaction hash, and the index is 0. So let's paste that here, and the index is 0. And then also let's save the balance, although we won't be using that to pass on to Cardano CLI. So let's save it and proceed to the next step. So we are now actually ready to mint our NFT. We will simply create a transaction, sign it, and then submit it to the blockchain. But we are going to do that on my next video tutorial because I want to keep my videos as short as possible. So that's it for now. I'll see you on the second segment of this tutorial. Thank you and bye-bye.